Hey guys, this is going to be kind of a quick follow-up video following from the last video I recorded on package namespace. There's just a few things I want to point out so you can have a better understanding of what happens when we're using find prop strict, construct prop, and this video is mostly going to be focused on call property. Also, if you notice, the color of my JPEGs is different. If you guys want to change the color of JPEGs, it's really easy. Go to settings, click on advanced settings, and then scroll down to the bottom of the interface tab, and you can click user interface skin and switch. I'm on graphite aqua. I've noticed that a lot of these, they're not really good color schemes. By that, I mean you can't see stuff. Using this little traits window down here at the bottom, you can see it's kind of hard to read what's in there. It seemed like a lot of them were like that, so you might have to be kind of picky with how it works. Alright, so the first thing I wanted to cover, in the last video I said that in order to call properties, you have to find prop strict, then construct prop, and then you can call properties. That is true. If you want to call properties from another file, you're going to have to you're going to have to find the property, and then if the property is found, or if the namespace is found, you have to construct that namespace, and then you can call properties from it. You don't need to do find prop strict and construct prop for every property you want to call. Using the Dart monkey as an example, we did find prop strict once to find the namespace, and then we constructed it once we knew we found it, but then that's the only time we did that. Then we called all these different properties from it without actually constructing it again. So you only need to construct it once, and then you can call the properties you want, and then when you're done, you have to make sure that you use coerce and here. So now on to call property. We know that we are calling properties like label in this case from the namespace or the package namespace towers dev. Well, what exactly is label, and what are the other kinds of properties we can call? Well, let's open up the tower def namespace, see what we have. So we're in the tower def namespace, which is in the towers.def package. Let's see what we can use. If we scroll down a little bit, we see this line right here, display order.push. This is a really easy, visible way of seeing what we can use. We went over it last time, but you can see ID, label, occupied space, etc. But that's not what we're calling when we use call property. If you scroll down just a little bit more, these are what we're calling. We're calling functions. If you notice, there's 3 functions with the name label. This one with a capital L, and then these 2 with lowercase l's. This one is getting label, and this one is setting label. If we go back to the tower factory file and look at the Dart monkey, we can see that it is calling a property named label with a capital L. So that's how we know that it's calling this function here. After we've called this property, it's going to go on to the getLabel function and the setLabel function. As of the time I recorded this video, I haven't quite figured out which one of these comes first. I just know that after we call this function label, something happens with the getLabel and something happens with the setLabel. My current interpretation of it is that when we call the label function, it sets label, which is a different thing, to the string, which in our case is Dart monkey. You can see param1 is the same as the param1 here, which is the string that we passed into label. I think that when it says this.label equals param1 and then it's returning this, I think that it is calling either the getLabel function right here or the setLabel function. Looking at the P code, you can see that it is doing init property, which means initialize property, and it is initializing a property with the word label. And we've learned in the last video that, and I guess in this video, that when we're doing package namespace and then some thing right here, this is a function. So we're calling some function inside of here with the word label, and there's 2 of them, getLabel and setLabel. When we look at the top, you can see, using setLabel for right now, you can see it's called setter, and then it's setting the name of this function to label. With getLabel, it's getter, and then the word label. So I'm really not sure which one, but I know that these 3 all go together. And as a matter of fact, all of the other functions in here work like that. Occupied space is the same thing. There is a function called occupied space with a capital O, and then there is a lowercase occupied space that we're getting, and then there's one that we're setting. In the future, when I understand how this works, I'll make sure to release a video on it, because when we learn how to manipulate this kind of stuff, we'll be able to change the game completely. Like incorporating Balloons Monkey City into Balloons Tower Defense 5. Like full game-changing overhaul. So that's something to look forward to. But yeah, the point of this video wasn't really to cover what these functions mean. The point of this video was more so to clarify something I didn't say in the last video, that you only need to do find prop strict and construct prop once, and then you can call them as many times as you want. And then when you are calling properties, you're calling actual functions inside of the package namespace you specified. You can see those functions by going to the namespace or the script that's inside the package or the folders that you specified when you did CallProperty. And then looking at those functions, you can see that there's 3 of them. The first one here that you're calling, you can see the parameter that we're passing into it, if there is one. And then there's 2 that go with it, something that's getting and something that is setting. And these 3 combined turn into the function that we were calling, which in our case is label. And its purpose is to set the label for the dart monkey, or for the tower. Also, before I finish this video, I just want to point out one thing. We see that when we call the label function, it has a parameter that we're passing into it. When we go back to the Tower Factory file and look at it when we call the label function, we can see there's a 1 at the end, meaning that we're passing one parameter through. In this case, it's the string dart monkey. So the reason why we have a 1 at the end and the reason why we're passing one string dart monkey into the function label is because when we look at the function label, it has a parameter string which we're required to pass into it. So when we push that string, we put a 1 at the end of the call property to say that we are pushing one parameter into it. Hopefully that makes a little more sense as well. That's the end of the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time. Bye!